our starting point when thinking about the way in which climate change connects with stability is to understand that climate change will interact with and amplify social, economic and political stresses which are already there, pre-existing in those communities, and will shift the tipping point at which conflict might ignite, rather than climate change being this direct single causal factor which will spark conflict at the national level in and of itself. And at the same time, where there is already stability or instability and conflict, climate change will make it is an additional challenge which already weakened governance structures are having to cope with. So in terms of addressing the risk, this dual challenge of climate change and instability, we need to understand these pre-existing social, political and economic factors. And two things are important to note here. One is that these factors occur at the local level, they play out in the household level in the communities. And to be able to understand them, we need to be looking at that local level. And the other point to note is that these factors are interlinked, and this is key. We can't think about food security, for example, without thinking about land degradation and biodiversity, without thinking about water management or oil prices, for example. You can't address one of these things in isolation from the others. We have to understand how they all interact together to be able to respond appropriately. And again, these interactions will be uniquely shaped by the dynamics as they play out at the local level. Responses need to be relevant to the context, and that context can only be understood through very subnational, context-specific evidence, and that can only come from a bottom-up approach. At the same time, where a state and the social contract is already weak, the community and civil society don't want to be bypassing the state and delivering goods and services themselves and creating this kind of para-state being run by civil society. The bottom-up needs to be linked to the top-down, as it were, and at the same time as building stronger community engagement and locally owned processes, you need to ensure that the governance and the national level dimension is also being strengthened, so that those processes are also in line with increased equity, participation and transparency.